Environment in lobbies, schools don't necessarily want to have functionality. Because as soon as I make this functional and I press that drill switch for 2 seconds, full blown situation here.
It turns
So,
on the alarm.
I don't think that anyone would do that intentionally, but maybe mistakenly. So this is just for, say, firemen responding, and they get here and that door is locked. They can look right here and say, oh, it's a pull station on one of the floors, or whatever it caused it. We have sprinkler water flow monitoring, and we have manual pull stations, and we have heat detectors in the laundry rooms. And a smoke detector, there's a couple of lock spaces down in the garage that have smoke detection, I believe the electric room. And let's see, well, it's been 6 months since I was last here, and I usually work with an apprentice. And for the last couple of cycles, in other words, the last couple of years, I've pretty much dispatched my apprentice throughout the building. Although I'm quite familiar with it, there's a lot of documentation. I gotta sit down and write a report for an hour about each and everything. Today's inspection semi-annual frequency is tested sprinkler monitoring equipment, which, to the best of my recollection, is just the water flow switch down by bicycles. And then we have out here a post indicator valve, which is supply of firefighting water to the building. So this is, if there was ever an emergency, say someone's walking through the hallway with a couch and they snap a sprinkler head and all of a sudden water is being delivered. This is how we can shut the water off the building. However, this is not monitored. But the way it's designed here is you can see the notches in the lock. So this is locked, so Johnny, the pedestrian, can't come by and just shut off the sprinkler water.
Right.
But in the event that you need to turn off the water because we're delivering water, and that's going to be a pretty big episode at 120 pounds per square inch, snap that. It's just designed for exactly that. So you can hit it with a hammer, take it off, and shut off the water. Now, traditionally, we monitor the condition of this valve in many, many sprinkled buildings. This place never got a conduit pulled to it, so the reason is because it should always be open to have water for the firefighting available for delivery. But on occasion, the sprinkler guy may come here to do some maintenance and shut that off to drain the system, replace a sprinkler head, fix a leak. It's imperative that it gets opened back up. So that's why we want to monitor its condition, so that if someone were to come by and shut this PIV, it will stop the water from being available here. We typically want to call you and say, hey, did you know that your sprinkler's been compromised? So know that this has a function in the sprinkler system, but it does not have a component to the fire alarm because there's no switch, no wires. It's not wrong. I think it could be more right, but that's just an opinion. I'm not the fire marshal. It's just typically in a building where you can compromise the sprinklers, we want to know about it or let you know about it. And that's when you pick up the phone and say, I know the sprinkler guy is here making repairs. So that's what that function is. I haven't seen the equipment downstairs in quite a while, just because, like I said, I usually work with my partner who just drove by, and sent him out. Half the inspection is documentation, and the other half is the other part of the inspection, besides testing the water flow switch, is doing a visual inspection on everything installed. All the horns that are throughout the common areas, and the detection is basically the heat detectors in the elevator lobbies and the manual pull stations. That's what makes this come on. And or the water flow. So now I got the call from Robert the other day asking me about the location of the flow switch, and I was curious why he was working on it when I saw on my schedule that I was to be here, but now I understand. So without a backflow preventer, surges in the system can remove water from the system, and when the pressure comes back up, it's water going right past the water flow switch. Again, it's not intelligent. It can't tell if it's delivering water. It can just see that water, when water is going past the flow switch for a set amount of time, typically 30 to 90 seconds, we know that there's a problem. So when the water flow retard timer is down to 8 seconds, a transient that could cause 8 seconds of water flow is going to give you a false alarm, which we don't want. So that's one of the reasons that we conduct these annual and semi-annual inspections, to find out if those water flow switches are not timed properly, because we don't want you to have a false alarm, of course. We don't want the red truck to show up here unnecessarily.
How you doing?
Good.
It's Eddie Guile,
Mark Williams.
our resident fireman. Lives here,
Okay.
knows a lot about fires. He's a fireman.
Well, we got that in common.
Yeah. So here's my question, just to understand. The false alarm that we had happened because water on Garnett, the water went down.
Well, this is just what I was informed when I arrived, but I was just about to, before you came down, look into the history of the fire alarm control panel. And because Robert was here to attend to a water flow switch, that's probably what it was. Exactly what caused it out here away from the building, I'm not sure, but the history up to 650 events are in there, so I can tell you what time and what exactly occurred at what date and time.
So, is it the 8-second thing? If you changed it from 8 seconds, would we have less false alarms because the machine
I'm
would?
sure that that's what Robert did, is to make it so that more than 30 seconds of water flow, we want the building to go into alarm because something is obviously very wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's set at about 45.
I think that's
42,
ideal.
42 to 55.
The NFPA 72 requires timing between 0 and 90 seconds. I don't know what 0 seconds means, but we want to have a little more cushion to not have a false alarm when we know that we're having transients that are typically prevented with a backflow preventer, but this was all installed before that was required.
Okay.
So it's not wrong, it could be more right, but now that the timer is set to something more reasonable, which we are here to inspect that today, I completely trust Robert put a component of the inspection to test the water flow switch and record its time. And now that we know it had been a problem, I'm sure that we'll find that it's much more serious.